Leo was always the shadow in his own home. His parents, while mouthing words of love, had hearts that beat only for his older sister, Lisa. Every birthday, every family event, every minor achievement, Lisa was the center of their world. Leo was the afterthought, the empty chair in the corner, the muffled voice that was never really heard. It wasn't just the big things. It was the small things too. The way his mother would forget to pack his lunch but never missed a detail for Lisa. The way his father would cancel their plans to attend Lisa's dance recitals, leaving Leo alone in his room, staring at the walls that seemed to close in on him. They said they loved him, but Leo knew the truth. He was merely an obligation, a duty they were bound to acknowledge, but never truly fulfill. One dreary afternoon, while wandering the town's forgotten streets, Leo met an old man sitting on a weathered bench in the park. His eyes were kind, his smile warm, and he seemed to have all the time in the world for a lonely boy like Leo. The old man listened to him, truly listened, in a way no one ever had before. He talked to Leo about life, about pain, and about how sometimes the people who were supposed to love us the most hurt us the deepest. Day after day, Leo returned to the park. The old man would be there, waiting with a gentle smile and stories that made Leo forget the cold indifference of his home. For the first time in years, Leo felt understood, cared for, maybe even loved. The old man became the father figure Leo had always longed for, and with each passing day, Leo found himself slipping further and further away from his family, who barely noticed his absence. One evening, the old man invited Leo to his house. He promised warmth, comfort, and an escape from the loneliness that gnawed at Leo's heart. Feeling the weight of his family's neglect, Leo agreed. He followed the old man down winding, unfamiliar streets, far from the town's bustling center, to a secluded house hidden behind a thick wall of trees. The house was old, but it felt oddly welcoming, as though it had been waiting for Leo all along. That night, Leo didn't return home. His parents didn't notice until the next morning. They called out for him, their voices tinged more with annoyance than concern. When they realized he wasn't there, panic set in, and soon the police were involved. Missing posters with Leo's face plastered the town, but the days dragged on with no sign of the boy. His parents put on a show of desperation, but deep down, they were relieved to have one less burden, one less mouth to feed. 9 days passed before Leo's body was found. It was discovered in a shallow grave in the woods, not far from the old man's house. The once kind eyes that had made Leo feel so safe were nothing more than a cruel mask, hiding a monster. The old man was a serial killer, preying on the lost, the forgotten, and the unloved. Leo had been an easy target, desperate for affection, and in the end, he had paid the ultimate price. When the police informed Leo's parents of his fate, they wept for the cameras, their grief loud and performative. But inside, they felt nothing but the dull ache of guilt. They had failed him, driven him away with their neglect and empty promises of love. Leo had sought love elsewhere, and it had led him into the arms of a killer. Leo's sacrifice was a haunting reminder of what happens when love is a lie, when the people who are supposed to protect us push us away instead. His parents would forever be haunted by the ghost of the son they had lost, not to a killer, but to their own indifference. And Leo, in his final moments, had learned a bitter truth, that sometimes the monsters in our lives are the ones we trust the most.